I've spent the last 2 years testing over 50 different biohacks. Cold plunges, red light panels, peptides, nootropics, sleep trackers, hyperbaric chambers, grounding mats, you name it, I've probably tried it. And most of them, honestly, not worth the money or the time. But 5 of them fundamentally changed how I feel, how I perform, and how I recover. These aren't the flashy ones you see on social media. These are the ones that moved the needle when nothing else did, and one of them costs literally nothing. Let's get into it. Biohack #1, deliberate cold exposure. The first biohack that genuinely changed everything for me is deliberate cold exposure. And I know, everyone talks about cold plunges right now. But here's what most people get wrong. They're doing it for the wrong reasons and at the wrong times. The research on cold exposure is actually impressive. A 2022 study in the European Journal of Applied Physiology showed that cold water immersion at around 14 degrees Celsius, which is about 57 Fahrenheit, increases norepinephrine by 200 to 300%. That's not a marginal bump. That's a massive shift in your neurochemistry. Norepinephrine drives focus, attention, and mood. It's why you feel like a different person after a cold plunge. But here's the key that changed the game for me. Timing. Cold exposure in the morning within the first hour of waking locks in your circadian rhythm and gives you a dopamine and norepinephrine spike that lasts for hours. Cold exposure after a workout, on the other hand, can actually blunt the hypertrophy response. Research from the Journal of Physiology in 2015 showed that post-exercise cold water immersion reduced muscle protein synthesis. So if you're lifting for size, save the cold for your off days or mornings before training. My protocol: 3 minutes at 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 3 to 4 times per week, always in the morning. Total cost if you use your shower, $0. That's the free one I mentioned. Biohack #2, red light therapy. This was the biohack I was most skeptical about, and it ended up being one of the most impactful. The science here is called photobiomodulation, and it's been studied in over 5,000 peer-reviewed papers. Here's the mechanism in plain English. Red light at wavelengths between 630 and 670 nanometers, and near-infrared light between 810 and 850 nanometers penetrates your skin and is absorbed by the mitochondria in your cells. Specifically, it interacts with an enzyme called cytochrome C oxidase in the electron transport chain. The result is increased ATP production, more cellular energy. And downstream from that, you get reduced inflammation, faster tissue repair, and improved collagen production. The applications are surprisingly broad. Research suggests benefits for skin health, joint recovery, testosterone support, thyroid function, wound healing, and even cognitive performance. A 2017 study in the Journal of Biophotonics showed that transcranial photobiomodulation improved reaction time and sustained attention in healthy adults. My protocol: 10-15 minutes of full-body exposure at 6 inches from a panel daily. I alternate between a front and back session. The panels I use deliver about 100 milliwatts per square centimeter at the surface, which is in the therapeutic range that most studies use. If you're considering a panel, I cover specific recommendations in the free protocol guide, link in the description. Biohack #3, blood work optimization. This is the one I think is the most underrated. Regular blood work with a focus on optimal ranges, not just normal ranges. Here's the problem. Your doctor runs standard blood work and tells you everything looks normal. But normal is based on the reference population, which includes people who are overweight, sedentary, inflamed, and chronically stressed. A normal testosterone level of 350 ng/dL and a normal vitamin D of 32 ng/ml might keep you alive, but they're nowhere near where you need to be for peak performance. The shift that changed my life was moving from "am I sick?" blood work to "am I optimized?" blood work. That means tracking markers like free testosterone, not just total. It means looking at fasting insulin, not just glucose. It means checking HSCRP for inflammation, homocysteine for cardiovascular and methylation health, and full thyroid panels including free T3 and reverse T3, not just TSH. Here's an example. My IGF-1 came back at 120 ngml. Lab reference says that's normal because their range goes from 53 to 331. But the functional optimal range, where recovery and body composition markers tend to be best, is 180 to 260 ngml. That one number told me my growth hormone signaling was suboptimal, which completely changed my approach to sleep optimization and supplementation. I run a comprehensive panel every 90 days. The protocol guide has a complete blood work reference section with 30-plus biomarkers and their optimal ranges. That alone is worth the download. Link in the description. It's free. Quick note: if you're finding this valuable, make sure you've downloaded the free Biohack Agent Protocol Guide. It's 50 pages covering everything from peptide dosing to blood work optimization to red light protocols. Over 38 peptide profiles, 7 ready-to-use protocol templates, and the complete biomarker reference I just mentioned. It's completely free, no email required. Link is the first thing in the description. All right, back to the list. Biohack #4, targeted peptide protocols. I want to be specific here. I'm not talking about throwing random peptides at the wall and hoping something sticks. I'm talking about identifying a specific goal, selecting the research-backed compounds for that goal, running them for a defined cycle with proper dosing, and measuring the results with blood work. The peptide space has exploded in the last 2 years. There are now compounds being researched for nearly every optimization goal: healing and recovery, growth hormone secretion, fat loss, cognitive enhancement, immune modulation, sleep, and longevity. And the research base is growing rapidly. BPC 157 alone has hundreds of studies across dozens of applications. What changed my approach was treating peptides like a protocol, not a supplement. That means baseline blood work before starting, a specific compound or stack selected for a specific outcome, defined dosing and cycle length, and a retest at 6 to 8 weeks to evaluate whether the protocol actually worked. This is the difference between people who say peptides don't work and people who get transformative results. It's not the compounds, it's the methodology. If you want to go deeper on specific peptides, we've already covered the complete injectable peptide landscape on this channel, and we have deep dives on BPC 157 plus TB500 and CJC 1295 plus ipamorelin. I'll link those in the description and in the cards above. Biohack #5, sleep architecture optimization. This is the one that ties everything else together. Sleep architecture optimization. Not just get more sleep, specifically optimizing deep sleep and REM sleep stages, because that's where the real recovery and cognitive consolidation happens. Here's the thing most people don't realize. You can sleep 8 hours and still be under-recovered if your sleep architecture is off. If you're spending too much time in light sleep and not enough in deep, slow-wave sleep, your growth hormone secretion is compromised, your muscle recovery is impaired, and your cognitive performance the next day will suffer. Research from Matthew Walker's lab at UC Berkeley has shown that deep sleep is when the glymphatic system clears metabolic waste from the brain, including beta amyloid. This isn't optional biology, this is foundational. The protocol that made the biggest difference for me was a combination of factors: consistent sleep and wake times within a 30-minute window, even on weekends. Room temperature between 65 and 67 degrees. Complete darkness. And I mean complete, not pretty dark. No screens 90 minutes before bed, which I know sounds extreme, but the data on blue light suppression of melatonin onset is clear. And targeted supplementation: magnesium glycinate, apigenin, and L-theanine taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed. The result? My deep sleep went from an average of 45 minutes to over 90 minutes per night, measured by an Oura ring. That single change improved my recovery scores, my morning energy, and made every other biohack I was running work better. Sleep is the force multiplier. So there you have it, 5 biohacks ranging from completely free to moderately invested that fundamentally changed my biology in 2026. Cold exposure for neurochemistry and resilience. Red light therapy for cellular energy and recovery. Blood work optimization to stop guessing and start knowing. Targeted peptide protocols with actual methodology. And sleep architecture optimization as the foundation everything else is built on. If you want the complete playbook, the Biohack Agent Protocol Guide covers all 5 of these in detail. Protocols, dosing, biomarker ranges, the works. 50 pages, completely free, link is in the description. Drop a comment and tell me, which of these 5 are you already doing and which one are you going to start this week? I read every comment. If this was valuable, hit subscribe. We're dropping new content daily covering peptides, biohacking protocols, and the science of human optimization. I'll see you in the next one.